Someone asked, call my name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to. It might be difficult because there's another Hana in this class, but I wanted to start trying to go by my Hebrew name, which is Hana.
She's Hana Bela. She's Hana.
Whoa.
I know.
Because every time you say Hana, I like perk up and I think you're talking to me, but you're not.
Look at you.
So I feel like that's my soul wanting to be.
You
called
feel like, and girl, it is.
Hana.
Yes, ma'am. That's who you are. Well, Hannah's a very special name. That's the name of the Rebbe's mother. And the Rebbe spoke about it at length. Hannah stands for the totality of the Jewish woman.
Wow.
Ches stands for Chala,
Which is a woman's mitzvah.
which extends to all the food that a woman gives to her home, to her children, her husband. And we all know you are what you eat, that this affects, we learned this in the Tanya, that kosher food becomes your flesh and blood, your heart with which you feel and are sensitive to mitzvahs and to godliness, and your intellect that should be focused on things that are good and holy. The Nun stands for Nida, which is bringing life into the world, children, raising a family, educating them. And the Hey stands for Hadlakas Haneres, which is Shabbos and Yom Tov. That's the totality of Jewish life, represented in the name Hannah. When Sarah was alive, these three blessings were visible. Then the candles burned from Erev Shabbos when she lit them until Erev Shabbos, until the next week. They stayed lit the whole time. And there was a cloud over the tent. You might think that would be like today, a cloudy day. No, in the desert, in the heat of the desert, the cloud was very welcome. And it was a symbol of the presence of the Shekhinah, of the indwelling of godliness upon the tent because of the holiness of the life that she conducted in the home. And that's a symbol of Nida. That's the blessing that comes with Nida, which is a supernal blessing. And Ches stands for Chala. So we got Chala, Nida, and Hadlakas Haneres. And Eliezer was sent to find a wife for Yitzchak. Abraham was too old to make the trip. He sent his servant Eliezer. Eliezer prayed to Hashem that he should find the right girl. How will he know who she is? That when the right girl comes and I ask her for water, she'll give me water and she'll give my camels also water. And no sooner did he finish his prayer, which the Talmud says was an improper prayer, because who knows what girl could have come. And it gives another example in contrast to that of an improper prayer. And who was it? Lo and behold, it was Rivka. It was her third birthday. She was 3 years old exactly. And therefore, according to the Talmud, old enough to be able to say what she wants and to get married. And here she comes. And he runs over to her because he saw a sign that it was really the one. And what was that sign? That he was at a well. Now, in those days, the well was not like we traditionally imagine, a round stone structure with a pail on a rope. The well was a gathering of water, and they had steps you could walk down into the water and then bring your pail back up. So she came with a cud. A cud is a pitcher of water, and the word for cud is chaf daled. Chaf is 20, daled is 4, a symbol of the 24 books of Torah that her children would put together, the whole symbol of the whole Torah. And when she came, all of a sudden he saw something extraordinary, that the water rose to greet her. Little girl, water rose to greet her. And so he knew that she was the one for his son. And it didn't go so easy. Her family tried to prevent the shidduch. And he prevailed over them because he was so attached to Abraham that when he came to the house, first he knew she was the right one, and he gave her gifts. He gave her 2 bracelets standing for the 2 tablets of the Torah, each of them weighing 10 shekel of gold, 2 golden bracelets standing for the 10 commandments that her children would receive. And she ran home to tell her mother. And her brother and father, who were very greedy, saw the money. They wanted to get this guy into their house to take his money and get rid of him. They did not want her to leave the home. He arrives, and before he says any niceties, his introductory words are very significant. The first thing he says is, Eved Abram Anoichi, I am the servant of Abram. The Rebbe said made a lot about this, that a shliach has to know who he is all the time. He is the representative of the one who sends him. I'm not an independent person. Eved Avraham Anochi. I am the servant of Abram. And so I come with the koyach of on the shlichus of Abram. And he prevails over them. And they don't want to let her go, but they agree they'll let her decide. We'll let her decide. And so she comes, and they said, do you want to go with this person? She says, yes. She wants to go with him. So he takes her home, and she comes and she sees Yitzchak. And he's davening in a field. And she sees the light of the Shekhinah around him, and she's amazed at this. And says, who is this? And she says, this is the son of my master, Abraham. This is your husband. And she's so overcome, she sort of falls off the camel. She falls off and catches herself on the way and sort of hurts herself. And he brings her into, she recovers, and then Eliezer introduces her to Yitzchak, and Yitzchak brings her into the tent of Sarah, his mother. That's what the pasuk says. He brings her into the tent of Sarah, his mother. I'm telling you the whole story because it's such an interesting story. And the sages say, why did it say he brought her into the tent of Sarah, his mother? He could just say he brought her in the tent of Sarah, or he brought her into the tent of his mother. Why did it say Sarah, his mother? We know Sarah is his mother. And the answer is because there were 3 miracles having to do with this tent when Sarah was alive. And they were that there was the cloud of glory, of Hashem's glory, hanging over the tent, hovering over the tent the whole time, which there was which gave it a special aura. And then there was the light of the Shabbos candles, which burned the whole week long. And there was a blessing in the food that everybody could taste it. It was inspiring to eat Sarah's food, like Mrs. Pape. People like her gefilte fish. They're crazy about it. Anyway, I'm just kidding. And when Sarah passed away, there was no more cloud over the tent. And there was no more blessing in the taste of blessing in the food. And the candles didn't burn. Who lit the candles? Sarah wasn't there. Who lit the candles? Avram lit the candles. Probably Yitzchak also lit a candle because it's a mitzvah to have light in the house. They didn't have electric lights. If you're not going to have candles lit in the house, you're going to trip and fall, hurt yourself. So that's the fundamental reason for candles in the house, is that nobody should get hurt and be upset because of Shabbos. Oh, I hate Shabbos because I always trip on the furniture. So you have to have candles in Shabbos. But of course, candles brings the holiness of the Shabbos into the house. So they lit candles for 3 years that Sarah was not there. And the candles didn't burn more than a couple of hours, which is normal. And the food tasted normal. And there was no cloud over the tent. Comes 3-year-old Rivka, and it all returns. All of a sudden, there's the cloud. And if Rivka could cook. I asked my wife when we met, and it looked, we became Chassan Kala. So I figured better find out who this girl is, what's she capable of. She's very nice. I'd like to marry her, but can you cook? I asked my wife, do you know how to cook? She says, no, I only know how to eat.
Can she cook now? Can she cook now?
Can she cook now? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
With one hand. She cooks better with one hand than most people can with two. So that's the story of Hannah. Special name.
Wait, wasn't that Rivka?
What?
Wasn't that Rivka, the 3-year-old?
Yeah, but with Rivka came the blessings of Chala, Neres Shabbos, and Hadlakas and Neres, and Nida.
She was 3 years
She
old.
so he knew that's why it says he brought her into the tent of Sarah, Sarah his mother, because she became Sarah his mother. That's the meaning of the repetition. That all the blessings that accompanied Sarah were revealed anew with Rivka. So then so until then he figured that she was fit to take Sarah's place, especially from the first moment. She excelled in welcoming him and giving chesed, giving him kindness, giving him food, water, and water for all the camels. So this was the sign that he wanted. He wanted to see that she had this quality of kindness that characterized Sarah. All right, chapter 15. So we're learning about this person. I asked a friend of mine, a very learned person yesterday, about this person who is considered a Beinoni, and yet he doesn't do anything special. It's everything is natural, comes natural to him because he's very cold by temperament and he's not challenged by any desires. He has no lust for all the things that people desire in life. He's cold nature. Cool. Everything is by him on chill. So I said to him, how can this guy be a Beinoni? So this person answered me. He said, because the way the Beinoni is being described here is according to what he does. Does he live like a Beinoni? And not what's going on in his heart. And this is in contradistinction to everything that we've learned about the Beinoni so far, that the Beinoni, we've just focused on the idea that a Beinoni is not a tzaddik because he lives like a tzaddik, but in his heart, there's a war going on. Whereas in this person, he can be a Beinoni and there is no war going on. However, he has a commandment to serve Hashem and he's not serving Hashem. Serving Hashem means fighting. In the service, you're in the army. So it says like 225 at the top, the words jump off the page at you because his evil inclination does not oppose him in any attempt to deter him from his Torah study. So he's learning Torah the whole time. And his divine service, which is he's doing mitzvahs. And he doesn't have to wage war against his Yetzer Hara. This is a person who is naturally a good student and his character is solid. And he has a frigid nature. He has no sexual desires. He has no desire to overeat, never asks for seconds. He naturally lacks any feeling for personal enjoyment. And for this reason, it's easy for him to think about the greatness of Hashem. He just looks around himself. He sees, he beholds, and he understands the greatness of Hashem's creation. And he understands that he's part of Hashem's creation. And just like any person naturally loves his life, if you're any person, heaven forbid, is attacked, scream, help, help, help. I don't want to die. No, everybody wants to remain connected to their life. And so that means in his case to be connected to Hashem. Hello, Chedva. So it's very easy for him to have this love in his heart, which motivates him to continue studying and doing commandments. And this is called the hidden love, Ava Misuteres. It's hidden, it's just naturally there. It's in his heart, it's in your heart, it's in my heart, it's in the heart of every single Jew that you'll ever meet. But sometimes it gets buried over. In that case, we need to elicit the force of Yitzchak, who dug wells. We have to dig deep into his character to reveal that love, which is latent. But in this case of the cool guy, his love isn't something that he has achieved. It's not an achievement by him. It's just natural. And the horse is also natural. The cow gives milk, also natural. It's nothing, that's what it's made to do. The bird sings, it's natural. It's not an achievement. There's no stories about the little bird that couldn't sing. Could only go quack, 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 and learn how to sing. There's a story about it.
You're really good at animal impressions.
The story about the swan, the ugly duckling?
Yeah.
Which really became a swan, became beautiful. We don't find birds that have, the crow, for instance, has an ugly, ugly call. And all the avoid in the world, all the Hasidus will not enable it. You can learn Hasidus by your crow, your pet crow. It won't start singing like a nightingale. So that this diligence in the service of Hashem is like a second habit. Now, page 227. Now the Torah is going to give us another parable, a metaphor, that it says in the Talmud. We're talking now about a person who serves God and a person who doesn't serve God. We understood it, first of all, as a difference between a tzaddik who serves God and a rasha who does not serve God. Then we revised that and said, no, we're talking about the Beinanim. There are Beinanim who serve God, and there are Beinanim who don't serve God. We just finished with that. The Beinani, he's a Beinani because he never does anything wrong, but he's not serving God. We all on the same page? 227. And now, there's a statement from the Talmud. Where in the Talmud? We had it before. Oh. Footnote number 2. In the Talmud in Chagiga, which is about the festival offerings that we bring on a holiday. There's a difference between a person who serves God and the person who doesn't serve God. That the person who serves God, the person who doesn't serve God, he's a good student. He learns everything by heart. How do you learn by heart? You could try this, girls. Start with chapter 1. Try it. Try it. It can change your life. Take my word for it. It can change your life. Learning by heart is so important. That's how learning used to be before the age of computers, before the printing press. People learned everything by heart. How did they learn the whole Talmud by heart? By repetition. I had a French teacher in college. He told me repetition is the mistress of learning. You want to know something? Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. How do you repeat it? Here's the trick. You have 10 fingers. Repeat a thing 10 times. Oh, so you count as you repeat it. How many times you repeat it. When you get all 10 fingers, you say, okay, I got 1. Then repeat it 10 more times. You've got 2. By the time you've repeated it 10 times, you know it.
100 times, you'll never forget.
Well, it could be you have limitations. A person has limitations. He could learn. There's a story about a famous teacher called Rabbi Pape. He was a wonderful teacher. He never became impatient with a student. And he had a student, excuse me.
Do you need water?
I have water, thank you.
You need coffee?
He had a student who was dull. It's just early in the morning, you know.
Right.
Sometimes I get up with a frog in my throat. The frog also wants to learn.
Rabbi, how'd the frog get in there? That's not kosher.
Pardon me.
I said, how did the frog get in your throat? That's not kosher.
It's not impure. The Maggid of Mesrich used to get up early to listen to the frogs croak.
Cute.
It was inspiring to him. Widget.
I think
Which-
you should do the audiobook for a kid's book where you just like mimic animals.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And then it could end you singing
My
home on the
kids-
radio.
Why did he want to hear the frogs croak? Because the frogs were a symbol to him of self-sacrifice. Because frogs like to be in cold, wet places.
Frogs are free.
And in Egypt, they jumped into the red hot ovens in order to fulfill Hashem's desire.
Frogs are freaking.
But if you do that children's book, make sure that we get it because my children will listen to it. You know?
Okay. So this person learns 10 times. He's a regular student. Oh, so Rabbi Pape had this, he was dull. And he learned with him 10 times, and it didn't help. He still didn't know. So he learned with him again 10 times. It still didn't know. He learned with him 3 times, 10 times. And he still didn't know. He learned with him 4th time, 400 times. He taught him the same thing over and over again. He didn't get tired. He didn't get impatient. And after 400 times, he knew. One day he came to him and he was learning with him. Isn't it amazing? Is that a devoted teacher?
Yeah.
Who cares, he loves his student, and he cares for the student.
Beautiful.
One time he learned with him 400 times and he still didn't know. He says, what? You always understand after 400 times. Why this time don't you understand? He says, because in the middle, there were 2 people coming to collect tzedakah for Pidyon Shavuyim, to ransom some people who had been taken captive. And they wanted you to join them. And you said, I can't join you now because I'm learning with my students. When I finish, then I'll come with you. Said the boy, ever since you said that to them, I was waiting. I thought they'll be impatient and they're going to come back and interrupt and I won't be able to learn with you 400 times. So even though we learned 400 times, I wasn't concentrating the last 200 times. Rabbi Pape said, don't worry. I'll learn with you another 400 times. And he did, and he understood. And for this, he received such an award. I think he lived 400 years. It's just a remarkable story. But this is a regular student, however, not a student who was mentally handicapped like this boy was. A regular student learned 100 times. That was how they learned. You try it, you'll see it works. It's
so beautiful.
fail proof. And if it fails, so do it a few more times. You'll have it.
If
But
fails, you have to
do
throw
it
it out.
regularly. Do it regularly. Don't learn 100 times, then you know it. And then don't go back to it. Go back to it like once a week or once a month. And make sure, refresh. That little arrow at the top, click on the arrow, refresh. Okay. However, there is another student who learns 101 times. That's a different category altogether. The Maggid of Mesrich, he said to him, how did you acquire such tremendous depth of knowledge? He says, because when all the other boys in the yeshiva would go to have breakfast, I stayed an extra 10 minutes to review. Those extra 10 minutes were more than all the time that we spent until then. So this is what it says here, that in the times of the Talmud, they used to review normally 100 times. And the person who learned 101 times would excel. He would excel. And the Talmud compares this to the taxi drivers. In those days, the taxis were donkeys. You'd hire a donkey to schlep your furniture or to schlep your groceries. It was too heavy to carry. You couldn't call an Uber. So you hired a donkey driver, and he would have a little wagon, and he would take you all the way home, up to 10 parsa. A parsa is, I don't know what a parsa is. A quarter of a mile, maybe? 1/10 of a mile. He would take you for 10 parsa, which was, let's say that's a mile. Take you a mile for 1 zuz.
What's this?
$1. You know the song? Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Zabin Abba Bisvei Zuze. My father bought for 2 zuz.
Oh, I never heard that part.
Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya.
What did he buy?
Came along the cat and ate the dog, and ate came the dog and bit the cat. Came the stick and hit the dog. Came the fire, burnt the stick. Came the water, put out the fire. Came the cow, drank the water. Came the sheichet, shechted the cow. Came the angel of death, shechted the sheichet. Came Hashem and brought Mashiach. That's the song we sing on Pesach. Okay,
Oh, I like
so the taxi driver would take you 10 parsa for 1 zuz. If you want 11 parsa, a little bit more. Price went up double. When I was a kid, I used to go to a recreation area beyond a certain street in the city where I lived. I paid 1 bus fare to get up there. If I went beyond that street, which was called Wilson Avenue, if I went beyond Wilson, that was by the highway, the 401 in Toronto. If I went beyond that, I had to pay 2 bus fares. 1 block more, 2 bus fares. So the same thing applied in the times of the Talmud. If you wanted to go more than 10 parsi, you had to pay 2 zuz. So similar, why is it that just 1 parsa more is worth the whole price that you paid until now? So they learned from this the value of learning that extra 10, 15 minutes. You can sit and learn for an hour or 2 hours, and then everybody leaves, and you learn an extra 10 minutes. It's as if you learned for 4 hours. Because you're going beyond what's normal. What they say now in the modern way of speaking now is beyond your comfort zone. And that's what Hasidus is all about. Going beyond your comfort zone, beyond the letter of the law.
beyond your capacity.
Pushing
to new levels of capacity, right?
I was
Comments?
gonna comment that they didn't know this back then, but like current like brain research will show that doing something like that increases your memory and retention like tenfold. Like just like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, like to review what you just learned will like double ingrain it in your brain. In your memory.
Correct. I got news for you.
But like they already knew that.
They did know that back then.
Yeah, Torah like knows it all. The world is
We're
catching
just
up.
finding out. You had to go to a Chabad house,
We're just being.
come to Machon Chana, Machon Yadus to find it out, but they knew all along. It's there in the Talmud. The 100, page 228, this 101st revision, which they did, which is beyond the normal practice, it's beyond their comfort zone, not what they've been accustomed to since they were kids, is equivalent to all the 100 revisions that they did until now. In fact, it's worth even more, because like you said, it increases tenfold, it has greater strength. V'yeser says, v'yeser oz, has greater strength and power. Li is nikra, and now this person is called an oived, a person who is serving Hashem, not a servant of Hashem. The one who doesn't do anything, he's a servant. He does everything Hashem wants him to do. He's a servant of Hashem. He qualifies. He's not a wicked person, doesn't do anything wrong, does everything right, but he's not serving. He's just doing what comes naturally. For in order to change, in order to change what's natural for him, where do you get the strength? After you learn a whole day, I can say this from experience, after you've learned and you're tired, you put in a whole day's work, you go home and you have long shiurim to do. Rambam, and on a Wednesday, very often we have long shiurim to do on Wednesdays this year. And your eyes are stinging and your body is aching, and you just want to look at your bed, and you have to fight not to sit down on the edge of the bed, and if you do, you fall asleep. And you fight against it, right? You really have to fight against. What gives you the strength to fight against this desire to take it easy already? That's because you love Hashem, you want to be connected to Hashem. That's ahava. That's love of Hashem. Where does love of Hashem come from? Understanding the greatness of Hashem. That's what all these chapters are about. Coming to understand the greatness of Hashem and how it motivates us to have ahava for Hashem. And this inspires the way we do mitzvahs and the way we learn Torah. Lishleit al hateva. And this enables us to rule over our natural instincts, shebachol hasmoli, which they are connected with the left side of the heart, hamole dam, which is full of blood, because that's where the nefesh, the animal soul, is hanging around the whole time. Shemi haklipa, and the animal soul is letting this person learn and letting him do mitzvahs, because that's not what he's really here for. When he comes to the challenge that he's really here for, which is maybe to repay someone a favor from a previous incarnation, or from a mistake they did, was committed early in life, and they have to correct it. And when that opportunity comes along, all of a sudden, it becomes very difficult for this person to do what he has to do. Until now, it was easy. The Iyar didn't bother him because it didn't really matter. That wasn't what he was here for. It says in the Hayom Yom, in the name of the Baal Shem Tov, whose yahrzeit is on Shavuos, by the way, that a neshama can come into the world 70, 80 years just to repay a favor to somebody that he owes him from this life or from a previous life, and to fix up the score. Shemimenu hu hateva, because nature, the nature of things is, from the animal soul, we do things by nature, just by nature.
So I have a question.
And our animal soul is just an animal, it's not a servant of God. Just like the horse does what comes by nature.
I have a question.
Just a second. Let's just finish the next few lines, and then I'll deal with your question. I promise, like Rabbi Pape. And this is, even though the Beinani may never be able to be a tzaddik, but if he can do this, to go beyond his comfort zone, day after day after day after day, this is a perfect service of the Beinani, and we don't have to worry. The Beinani doesn't have to worry and feel depressed that he's not a tzaddik. Why can't I be a tzaddik? Like the Rebbe, I'm not, well, I can't, maybe I can't. That's to be a tzaddik, we learned already, this is a gift from God. I can't work to have a gift. I can only work to achieve what I can achieve. And a gift is what Hashem gives. It's up to the giver to want to give it. And if it seems right in Hashem's eyes that I should get it, then I'll get it. And if he says, no, your job is to continue struggling, then that's what you're going to do. You're going to continue struggling. And what the Alter Rebbe is saying here, don't be upset, don't be depressed because you're not a tzaddik. Maybe that's not your lot to be a tzaddik. Maybe your lot is to be like this Beinoni who is constantly pushing himself beyond his limits. Or like the Rebbe said to a person, you don't have to break yourself to do this. You don't have to do something that's so difficult, but you do have to go beyond your limits. So give 1 penny to tzedakah today, and tomorrow give 2. And by the end of the year, you'll be giving 365 pennies. You can handle it, but every day it's more. You're always going forward, always pushing further.
It's like the Kool-Aid man.
And not only that, by continuing to behave like the first level tzaddik, we said, who has no conflict. Remember the question of Dr. Resnick, who said to the Rebbe, do I have to break myself when it becomes really, really hard? And I know it's important for me to do it. And I feel I can't. It's too much for me. Do I have to break myself? I know it's important for me, but do I have to break myself? Let's say a young man, doesn't want to wear tzitzis. People have their foibles, they have their hang-ups. A woman doesn't want to go to the mikveh, ruins her marriage. I told you the story. 4 months she separated from her husband until she came to her senses and said, I'll do anything. I don't want to lose my husband. So they got back together and they had a very happy marriage after that. But for a while, she couldn't bring herself to do it. They became frum, and he realized, I can't be with my wife if she's not going to go to the mikveh. And they separated. So anybody can have this problem, because what's really important to you, when it's important to your neshama to do it, the Yetzer Hara is going to make it very, very hard for you psychologically. And things that are easy for other people to do will be like unbelievably difficult for you. So Dr. Resnick said to the Rebbe, do I have to break myself? He says, no, you don't. Keep doing the easy things, because you're building up strength. They're godly things, they're holy things. So this is also called a perfect service. It's not perfect compared to the tzaddik, but on your level, it is perfect. Masha Enken, however, the first level person who doesn't fight a war with his Yetzer Hara, ein avazu mitzad atzma nikras avoda klal. That's not called serving God. So the chapter ends not on a positive note, but really there is a positive note that the Beinoni, there are 2 levels of Beinoni. The Beinoni who doesn't serve God, learns his parak 100 times, very nice, a nice looking Jew. A woman runs a very beautiful religious home with nice children and a husband, and participates in community affairs, everything the way it should be, but not on the level of the person who learns 101 times, who does more than required. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbos. Used to be the Holy Shabbos. It became the weekend. Thank you, girls. You're an inspiration. You are an inspiration.